So that was what's hot for this week. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to end the show with the song Crown by Stormzy. He's sending a message to Boris Johnson, by the way. Our last topic of the day is SPAC Nation and the fraud allegations against them. So, a quick brief of SPAC Nation. SPAC Nation is SPAC Nation is an evangelical church that was first praised for helping ex-gang members to escape that gang and to basically embrace God. But in the news a lot right now, SPAC Nation are being accused of not only financially abusing their young followers, but also using God's name in a way to bring people in to do basically badness, which is unacceptable. Apparently, one member has said that she was persuaded to commit benefit fraud. So she was basically told to use her name for universal credits, and then you get say a £1,000 loan, and then that money goes to the church. If that, I don't really agree with that, and I think that putting people's that's credit, that's for their future, and using that for your church. If you didn't have the money to start up the church in the first place, why are you now using other people's money to do this? And even is it even for the church? Because they're living lavish lifestyles, but they don't have the money to back the lavish lifestyles. Like, they're asking other people to use their bank accounts and opening up business bank accounts in order to do this. I just don't think that, their direction at first was good, but I don't think that their direction now is the best. So that was our track, Lessons by Stormzy. That was basically a public apology to Maya for allegedly cheating on her. But Stormzy's new album, Stormzy's long-awaited second album, looks likely to become one of the most streamed British albums of the year, only hours after its release. And I think that is black excellency right there. I think that he's an inspiration for the youth, and he's very controversial, but not in a violent way. He's very passively controversial, and I just rate the guy 100%. I rate him. The new album, Heavy Is the Head, was the number one in the album. So Heavy Is the Head was number one in the Apple Music album chart on Friday, and several tracks were in the top 40 singles chart. Heavy Is the Head is apparently the fastest ever pre-added album on Apple Music in the UK today. My personal favourite song from Stormzy's new album is 1 Second featuring Her. I think that it's just such a nice song. I'm going to give it a listen now. Yeah, I love that song. So as we know, in England right now, Brexit is potentially one of the biggest issues. But I feel like a lot of people need to be educated on what Brexit means for the UK. And personally, I don't think it's the best decision, but, we move. It happens. That's what the public have voted, so that's what's going to happen now. But here's a little education for those who don't know what the risks and what the consequences will be for the UK. So, Inflation will be a big issue. So businesses will now have to pay more to import, export stuff over borders. Another thing is that there will be a potential border between Ireland and Northern Ireland because obviously Ireland are part of the EU, so they're basically trying to break us totally away from the EU. Um, Another thing is Scotland may become independent, so they'll no longer be part of the UK. If they opt to join the EU instead of leaving with the UK. Real estate will be another issue, so lower economic growth could depress real estate prices. The cost of travel and communication could increase, so family members you may have, say, in Spain, the cost to call them overseas will be a lot more. The divorce bill is predicted to cost billions in euros. But my thing is, personally, my thing is, if they spend this money doing this, will they not be put in debt? Will they not? My thing is though, does the UK not have better things to spend their money on? Because if you go to London right now and see the amount of homeless people there are, could that money not go towards building them better houses, building them cheaper places to live, building them shelters? Could that money not go to schools? Could that money not go to people who are below the poverty line? They may be housed, but people who are below the poverty line. There's so much more things that we could be spending the money on right now instead of spending it on unnecessary things. Could we not spend it on the NHS? People actually use that on a day-to-day basis. Why are we not spending our money on things like that? I think that this whole leaving the EU, I think it's just unnecessary money that's being spent. Like, we don't need to be spending this money when we could put it to better things. So obviously on Friday the 13th, the Prime Minister made a speech in which he promised to... So obviously on Friday, Boris made a speech and he promised to work as equals with the EU in order to tackle terrorism and things like that. So we're going to have a quick listen to the speech he made. So whether he actually sticks to that plan, I do not know. I cannot predict the future. But personally, I would have spent the money that they're going to use leaving the EU on things that are more important in life. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. You are listening to What's Hot with Mia. Today we are going to be talking Brexit, Stormzy's new album and SPAC Nation's fraud allegations. So my first topic is Brexit, which is a very big thing in England right now. So as we know, on Friday the 13th of December, the general election result came in and the Conservatives were voted to rule England, basically. So for 4 years now, England have been going back and forth about Brexit and whether we should leave the European Union. Personally, in my opinion, I don't think we should leave because we only have so much money in England. It is a more richer country. However, we only have so much money, and that money could be put into different things. For example, schools, helping the homeless. Look how many homeless people there are in London right now. Like it's just, spending your money where it needs to be spent. Do you get what I mean? Like having priorities. We don't need to spend billions on leaving the EU if there are more important things to be spending money on. But